great, and I do love to travel. But there are so many places to go and things to do in Rhode Island that give you that vacation feeling that we thought we'd spotlight a few in this episode of DRI. Whether summer or fall, this 160-acre farm in Foster does not disappoint. It's under the stewardship of the Paulus family. If you remember the movie We Bought a Zoo, well, it's kind of like that.
You were not a farmer
No.
when you bought this property.
No. As a kid, my grandparents lived in Connecticut. There was a farm next to them. It always stuck in my mind. Later on, I happened to pass by this place. It appeared to be for sale. The sign was laying down on the grass. Wasn't even sure. I thought, boy, this could really be something.
So what were you doing before you had this idea to buy a farm that you knew nothing about?
I was in the automotive industry and just wanted a change. Combined with my kids were young, I thought it'd be a great thing for them to be involved as a whole family.
So, you know, Mark has always had these ideas, right? He's a visionary. So he came to me basically and said, I'd like to look at buying a farm. Couldn't really vision what he had in his mind, but of course, like I said, a visionary, they've already thought 5 to 10 years ahead of what it would be like. And I guess the best way to explain it was one of the things he said to me is, you know, I'd like to plant a few seeds and sell some pumpkins.
How hard could it be? She reminds me of that often.
How hard could it be?
So it turned into a, what do you mean by buying a farm, to where we are now with quite a draw for the local communities. And it's really like an investment in farming because there aren't many working farms left.
Just like last month, my dad was sick. He was on the couch. Me and Amanda were here at the farm every day, taking care of everything. It was just us doing a lot of the stuff. We were just laughing.
Yeah.
We're like, well, since when did we become dad? Like,
Yeah.
we're out here early in the morning, late at night, doing everything he does. You know, when did we become dad?
Yeah.
At some point, the FDA sent a representative to the farm to check in and see how things were progressing.
I was doing things, so they were like, hey, we can help. We can get involved with you. So the district conservationist came down. He said, how long have you been farming? I said, I just started. Oh, we walked another 50 feet, and he's looking around at everything. You've never farmed before? No. Another 50 feet, he goes, I don't believe this. You've never farmed before? I'm like, no. And the guy, he just couldn't. You're like, how do you know? Well, I pay attention. I watch a lot. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I do it. If something needs to be done, well, what do I got to learn?
Yeah, so our idea was really to make the farm a family event, a day trip, let's say. So there's the corn maze. We have a pick your own pumpkin patch. It's about 3 acres. We grow all our pumpkins here. We also offer 5 varieties of squashes and decorative gourds. And then we have pony rides for the kids. We have axe throwing, which is a lot of fun also.
Wow.
Items for sale in the barn and food trucks. And we just encourage people to just hang out and make it a day, grab a picnic table and spend the day.
So, you know, along the way, we got a few calls from a neighbor, and now we've gone more selective, better genetics, all that type of stuff. You know, how hard can it be?
That's going to be the theme of this segment.
Yeah.
How hard can it be?
It's a labor of love. You know, I can work here 8, 10, 12-hour day, go home, and still feel good about my day. And there are a lot of professions, I suppose, that you get through an 8-hour day and you're just exhausted. And the view from my office is always beautiful, so.
I definitely like being open when we have our stuff in the fall, being able to connect with people and having the kids do the pony rides and seeing everyone enjoy it so much.
Everyone that works here, we're so close. At the end of the year, we have a get-together. We all eat good food. We go back to the house. We talk. We laugh. We have such a good time when we're here in the fall. Everyone's so close, and we all get along so well. It makes everything worth it to be open during the fall.
We get asked all the time, is it a scary maze? Chris and I talked about it, and we said, you know, there's probably as many people who don't want to bring their kids into a scary maze. So when people call and ask, well, no, it's not haunted or scary. Wow, oh, that's great then. And they'll all come for that reason. And we also do it at night. So people come with their, I used to say flashlights, it's pretty much their phone lights now. But I'll go sometimes at night and stand on a wall, and you can hear everyone laughing and where are you? And then the maze glows from everyone's lights.
Oh,
so
my
the corn is just like glowing in movement, and you just stand on a wall and listen and watch. It's like, wow, that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted.
I have goosebumps now.
The farm has had some great stories to tell, including surviving a direct hit a few years ago from a tornado. But it's the small stuff that really gives the most satisfaction.
There's one thing that would stick out for you. What would that be?
I think the thing that sticks out the most is the comments people have when they come. A couple of my favorite ones are, I'm so glad you guys do this every year. Thank you for doing this. You're an authentic farm. It's not over-commercialized. And then the other favorite comment I get is, we want to tell everyone about this place, but we want to tell no one.
Like my dad always calls it our little piece of paradise. I mean, people that come here, people have come here from Providence, Woonsocket, and they come with their families and they just love it. And it's just a time to get away and enjoy something and experience something they've never felt before. They've never felt what it's like to be on a farm and really smell the fresh air and run around in the pumpkin patch with their kids. And they can touch the horses, they can go for the pony rides. It's something that every kid should experience, even adults, older people, anyone should experience what it's like to be here and just enjoy like the simple things, really. Nature and peace and quiet and being with the animals. I think it's important for everybody to at least experience at some point in their life.
Do you have the desire to redo your kitchen? To really make it into the kind of space that's functional and most especially livable? Then the experts at Jay's Broadway Appliance and TV are here to help. With a wide variety of brands and styles, your dream can soon be a reality. See what Smithfield residents have known for years. Visit Jay's for a better kitchen today. Ah, Providence. It's a beautiful city and hard to separate from one of the people who helped to get it here, Buddy Cianci. I got to work with him in the late 80s. He was so proud of the city, and it's hard not to see his handiwork in the downtown area especially. His wanting Providence to be thought of as a Renaissance city certainly helped to create its old world vibe, which brings Laura and I to one of the best things you can do as part of a staycation, or just a great day, which is to book a ride with Marcello at La Gondola.
So how does a kid from Foster wind up in the big city of Providence with a gondola company?
I went to college out in Pennsylvania to Lehigh University, and I was on the crew team. Was home for the summer, and each year my parents said, you know, we need X amount of money or you're not going back to Lehigh. So I went to the first temp agency on my list. She didn't have anything well-paying enough for me to go back to school doing, you know, warehouse work or manufacturing or whatever. But I happened to mention crew, and she says, "Crew means rowing." I said, "Yes, it does." And she said, "Well, I was at a job fair at Providence College a couple weeks ago, and there was a company looking for gondoliers." And I said, "This is my dream job. Sign me up."
Magic.
And I said, "Don't worry. I will call City Hall I bounced around through a number of departments until someone put me through to Mayor Cianci's office. And of course, they knew it right off the bat. I called the number, and the voice on the other side said, "You're hired. You can come down and start training tomorrow."
You were the first and only call.
And I have loved it since day one. And the one epilogue to that story is they asked how I'd heard about the job because they don't do any advertising or anything. So I told them this story and said they'd never been to a job fair.
That was fate.
Blind luck and divine
Meant to be.
intervention. Yep.
Is there Italian heritage somewhere in your DNA?
So probably 5 Christmases ago or so, I asked for a DNA kit. So I got the information back in May, which is during gondola season. Now, we've always thought that we were mostly French Canadian, probably about 60% Quebecois, about 30% British Isles, about 10% Scandinavian, maybe a little tiny bit of American Indian for flavor. And I get the information, and we're 6% French instead of 60, so that was a big deal.
That's a big difference.
About 50% British Isles, so that made sense. 12% Scandinavian, and then 12% Iberian Peninsula, Spanish, Portuguese, and 15% Southern Europe, Italy, Greece. Now I'm ecstatic. And here it turns out that I'm 15% Italian.
Brother,
right?
welcome to the club.
Well, hold on a second. Another month later, I get another email from Ancestry.com that says, "Hey, we've updated your information." And as it turns out, we're 60% French Canadian, we're 30% British Isles, we're 10% Scandinavian, and we are what we thought we were. And they took away everything interesting. When people ask, I tell them 2 things. Number 1, that I was Italian for about a month of my life. The other is that I wasn't born Italian, but I became Italian along the way. Really, this is the perfect job for me. Between rowing, singing, and history, which usually when we have visitors, they want to learn about the cities. We're talking about the history of Providence, the history of Venice, the history of gondolas. And, in the Venn diagram of rowing, history, and singing, there's really one thing that fits right in the middle of it. So here I am. And believe me, in a life filled with blessings, to have found the job that was perfect for me when I was 20 years old is something of which I try to be mindful all the time, because I know it is not the case for everybody.
Well, if you work in Providence, odds are pretty good you're going to have a Buddy Cianci story too.
So, as the story goes, when the Riverwalk was created, somewhere along that process, the mayor wanted to have like 10 or 12 gondolas, going up and down as part of this idyllic picture that he had for the city of Providence. The original intention for the company was actually to operate down in Florida on Marco Island. My old bosses went to Venice on their honeymoon. They had a gondola built up in Manchester, Mass. We think the first gondola ever built in America, the first authentic one. They were all set to start down there in January of '97, and she went into labor almost 2 months early with their first child. Yeah, my old boss was driving over 195 every day to see his wife and daughter in the hospital. So he called our very Italian mayor and he said, "I'd like to start a gondola company in Providence." And the mayor says, "That sounds like a fantastic idea. What do you need?" And my boss said, "Well, we need a dock." And the mayor says, "Done. When can you start?" And so we started up here in May of '97 instead of Florida in January, and we've been here ever since. And the epilogue to that story is that, if you remember, Buddy became the talk show host in the afternoons, right?
Yes.
So one day, like the theme of the conversation is, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? A very Buddy motto to live by. And out of the blue, he says, take the gondolas, for example. When they wanted to start a gondola company, we didn't have a dock for them. Now, if we had waited for the Coastal Resources Management Council and the Army Corps of Engineers, we would still be waiting for a gondola company. So we just put the dock in, and we got all the permits for it afterwards. It's really anything that made the city more beautiful, Buddy was in favor of. And yeah,
That's the truth.
He was the king.
Yeah, the Prince of Providence, right?
That's right.
This is one of my favorite things. You only get it if it's
That
the
is
right time of day,
beautiful.
right?
That's fantastic.
Just one of those little things.
I want to hear a little bit more about the singing.
Sure. When I first started, the bar wasn't set very high. There was this guy, but he had one rowing lesson. He said, this is definitely not for me. But he had a great voice. He studied opera for years, and it was his job for the summer. He would sing people to and from the dock. Well, my boss started taking him on his trips. So I said to him, maybe you should start teaching me Italian songs. And so while we were wiping down the boats an hour before trip started every day, we would just work on singing Italian songs and harmonizing and stuff.
So the song, the acoustics are perfect.
Sul mare luccica L'astro d'argento, placida l'onda, prospero il vento. Venite alla Gile, barchetta mia, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia.
Beautiful.
Thank you. You can't just come to being a gondolier because you want to make money. This is part of my soul. There's always something that draws someone who makes it through training to doing this, either because they love rowing, or they love being on the water, or they love the city of Providence, or they love interacting with people. Whatever it is, it's that reason that gets that person through training and gets them to become a gondolier.
Marcelo works closely with Cafe Nuovo, the restaurant that's literally yards away from his boat dock. And over the years, they've created dining and sailing packages.
It is a pretty great date night, and sometimes it just ends up being unplanned too. You know, a lot of times the servers up here, I mean, we have been working with each other for over 20 years, a lot of us, and you know, and they'll come down and ask, you know, do you have any availability? Can we squeeze in a trip here, there, or everywhere? I have this couple, they'd love to go. You know, and
That's a good relationship you have with the restaurant, with Cafe Nuovo.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for words now. I'm just in the experience.
You don't have to travel far
No.
to have a out-of-state experience almost.
And we try to remember that we are as much ambassadors for Venice and Venetian culture as we are for Providence and Providence culture. Take very seriously the idea, you know, try and remain as authentic as we possibly can.
And it's amazing how peaceful it is. We're in a city.
We're in our own little world down here. And even at rush hour, there's traffic up there, but you don't notice it. For the people who are down here, you are escaping from the rest of the world for the time that you're down here. And this is something that everybody, especially in the Northeast, should try. You know, hopefully with us, but you know, somewhere in the world, take a gondola ride at some point in your life, because we go so fast and we work so hard and we leave so many vacation days on the table. And to be able to move at this pace and feel somewhere deep inside that this is how fast life moved once upon a time is just remarkable, especially in the 21st century.
Great wine isn't exclusive to just certain places. And you don't need a plane ticket to get to Foster. Come to Nickel Creek Vineyard. Bring your crew and a picnic, or come for a tasting and some bottles to go. Visit the website for hours and events. Nickel Creek Vineyard, Foster, USA. If you think of golf as more than a game, then you're one of us. We're the Foster Country Club. Come play around on our beautifully manicured course. Enjoy awesome food and drinks in Tavern 19, and just get away from it all here in the rural Northwest. When your rural revolves around golf, think the Foster Country Club. You've got to do the work, but it doesn't mean it has to feel like work. I mean, who likes working anyway? And you don't want to spend all weekend doing it. So get the right stuff, because it makes all the difference. Be the king of your own backyard. Come to Situate Power Equipment. Situate Power Equipment, North Situate. This is what peace of mind looks like. Peace of mind knowing that you're protected. You, your family, your business. If your peace of mind looks more like this, then contact Calori Insurance in North Situate. For farm, auto, home, commercial, life. Calori Insurance. Here's one more staycation type idea. Go on a hike. There are so many trails here in Rhode Island. We caught up with a local group called the Woodland Wanderers at the Norman Bird Sanctuary in Middletown for a beautiful scenic excursion right here in the Ocean State.
So we wanted to start hiking and to bring along our family. It started with my parents. They love to hike, and growing up we always hiked. So we invited them, and then it just grew and grew, and all these beautiful people started joining us, and we've just been having so much fun with it.
The group has been around for about 8 years now. It started as just some friends getting together for hikes on Sundays, for exercise and camaraderie, and also for a break from jobs and life's stressors.
It does, because we step out of our day-to-day. We're in nature that most of us don't see all day long. It gives you a reason to go explore the outdoors and the open space that's here in the state, because there's so much of it. And people don't necessarily know unless they go looking for that. And take you away from cities, cars, people. Yeah, I love it.
Do you remember any of the rejects?
Yes.
Trailblazers.
Yeah.
That was
wasn't
one.
a bad one.
That's
That
a
was
good
my idea.
one.
That wasn't a bad one.
I think it was horrible.
But the vote won. Woodland Wanderers we became.
I just think it's amazing that someone like yourself that has 2 hip replacements, right?
Right.
And you've had multiple sports injuries. You are able to find pleasure and find exercise and find what else through hiking?
Well, it's like a feeling of accomplishment, and you know, it's also nice to be outside, right, in nature. You know, it's not just the exercise that I do it for. I grew up on a lake and was always, you know, an outdoor activity kind of guy. So it's sort of the best of both worlds. And what can you say? I mean, you know, the people that we hike with, I mean, they're some of the best people I've ever known. So it keeps you moving.
Now it's up to
35 at times.
It's great because it celebrates what we have in our own backyard.
That's right.
Which everybody forgets about.
We have all this beauty available to us.
Just being in the forest, I mean, there's just something very peaceful about it. I love all the smells. I love the sounds. You know, being a spiritual person, I think of it as my church.
Yep.
You know, just everything that's around. I'm looking for a word. It's like glorious or something that's...
Glorious is a good word.
Yeah.
Tell me the story about your first hike, how you got introduced to the group.
So I was kind of at a crossroads in my life, and I was looking for just something. I ended up coming across this group through a friend, and the first time I hiked, I knew one person on the hike. I don't know, I just loved it. There was just something about it and something about the group. It's beautiful, and who knew that all this stuff was in Rhode Island? Like you said, you could look one way and you're looking at, you know, all this beautiful green rocks and hills, and then you're looking the other way and you've got the ocean, and even on this foggy day, it's absolutely breathtaking. I lived in Rhode Island for most of my adult life and didn't even know that there were these trails out here.
It's open membership, really.
That's correct.
Anybody in the state can look you up. They can go to Facebook.
Absolutely, yes. And everybody's welcome.
I only knew a couple of people, So I wasn't sure what would happen. And then I got there, and the first thing that happened was that our fearless leader, Bethany, just came up and said, "We are huggers, welcome." And she put her arms around me and gave me the sweetest hug. And I was like, I'm in. I felt so good.
Do you have any memories of any really amazing out-of-state hikes?
I climbed Mount Washington for the first time, and that was something I never thought I would do or be able to do. And I'm definitely afraid of heights, as many of the people in the group know, and I was able to push through a lot of that and make it to the top.
It gives you the opportunity to see the state in a way that you can't see from I-95 or
I mean, there's a
something
road
like that.
right there, but they don't know how beautiful this is.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
can't even see the water. It's more than just the hike and the camaraderie. It's real fellowship
For sure. Yeah.
out here in nature.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
When you visit a new place and you're hungry, always best to go where the locals go, because the food will be better. The Village Tavern is one of those places. It feels like home. You just wish you could cook like this. Open 7 days in beautiful, historic North Scituate. The Village Tavern. Great food, great atmosphere. This is where it all happens. Some liquor stores are this big, others this big. But Chepachet Village Wine and Spirits is this big. With a huge selection of domestic, imported, and craft beers, wine, spirits, hard-to-find items for the aficionado. Oh, and these guys. Chepachet Village Wine and Spirits. Worth the drive from anywhere.